The Super Bowl is over, but the Dimer Sports Betting Podcast is back. We roll on. We've got a Super Bowl recap for you today and plenty more to bet this week. Dave, it was the most underwhelming Super Bowl I have ever seen. Did you feel the same?
Yeah, maybe not ever. I mean, we watched a 13-3 Super Bowl not too long ago featuring one of these same franchises, but it was pretty bad. I think we were due for a dud. It's been a little while, but unfortunately not the game for the over-bettors for sure.
Yeah, brutal. We'll take a brutal look back at some things that we missed from this game. But like I said, we have plenty more for you. We mentioned that the format of this show is going to change a little bit. And in the post-Super Bowl era, expect that maybe some shorter episodes each week soon as we start to navigate how to bring you your sports betting content in the NBA and college hoops and golf world. But the good news is this: the show is going nowhere. You'll get plenty more from Dave and I on an ongoing basis. So keep subscribing, keep showing us some love wherever you can. For today, we'll start with our Super Bowl takeaways. We'll do some way too early 2026 NFL predictions. We've got King of the Court picks in NBA. We've got PGA picks for you as always. And it's another great Tuesday night slate in the college basketball world. So we'll get to all of that later in the show. Before we start with our look back at the Super Bowl, we want you to get the Dimers app. Dave, give them the plug for the new app.
Yep, love the app. It's great. All of our bets, all of our props from the website in one convenient place. You can sort by sport, set your sports book so you only see the books you have. If you got a book with a boost, you can set that book, and then you'll only see our bets with edges for those particular books. More features coming soon. Works in conjunction with Dimers Pro. We'll try to add some more fun little things in there like we did over the weekend with the big game contest. We did have a winner who went a perfect 6 for 6 in the contest, won themselves $500 and 3 months of Dimers Pro. You can expect more fun stuff like that down the line, so don't miss it. Available on Apple and Android phones, so please go download that, log in, and add another tool to your arsenal, your Dimers Pro utility belt.
I was actually prepping for the show this morning, and maybe I shouldn't even reveal this. Drive responsibly, everybody. But I was texting Dave on the way back from dropping my kids off at daycare, and I had like 10 minutes until my workday was about to start, and we were discussing how we're going to do College Corner. And in previous iterations of this, if I'm like, oh, I want to check and see what the Dimers model says for tonight, what are the college hoops best bets? You'd have to log in on your mobile Safari browser, whatever browser you use, and it's just a little more difficult to navigate all that. This time, I got the Dimers app downloaded. It took me like 3 seconds to get to the best bets I was looking for. So a lot easier in terms of mobile navigation. Shout out to the Dimers team for putting this together, and it allowed me to safely get to my destination while also figuring out what the best bets are on the fly, Dave. How's that?
A man of multitasking capabilities never before seen.
It's just a special specimen. That's what they call me. All right, let's start the show with some things that you should have bet over the weekend.
Should have bet that.
Listen, we're not going to sugarcoat it. We didn't crush the Super Bowl the way we had all hoped, but our only touchdown value play did cash with Ramondre Stevenson, and there were a few other angles that we at least discussed last week leading up to the game.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to see Ramondre at least get in. Also, something for the Patriots to take away from it. Not the only team to be shut out in the Super Bowl. Although he was the second touchdown, I guess, so they had already avoided that. But yeah, he was the only guy we had with value. And that held all week long. Ended up being a cash, which was nice. Good for the model to get pretty much the one scoring angle that we could have. A few Cooper Kupp angles hit from the article that my boss posted on site. His ladder up to 60 yards. I think that cashed ultimately all the way up to plus 320, plus 360. Rashid Shaheed hit his yards over, didn't climb the ladder. Some of those deep cut prop angles we showcased hit. Kyle Williams got a reception for plus money. Did a webinar with Jace that he hosted on Thursday. We looked at the big game. There was an Austin Hooper for one reception in there, but it was at like gross minus 200 odds. We talked about how based on his projection and the trend, you should take his yards over it was like 8.5. He got 10. So, nothing really fantastic, but a couple ways of looking through there. Hopefully you found something in the sea of value in there. Few tough beats, came up 900 Henry yards short on the parlay, the same game parlay, and he was finally coming alive at the end. Almost caught one in the end zone, took a big hit on that. Might have been what he needed there. Rashid Shaheed had 2 massive targets, big passes that he didn't come down with, would have crushed some ladders there. So a few things we could have had, few things we didn't, a few things weren't close, but overall, we got something to take away from it anyway. Other wins, non-NFL related from the last show, when we looked at the Phoenix Open for golf, looked at some golfers to watch that didn't have any outright value, but guys that were worth putting on your cards in some way or another. Cashed a pair of top 10s on Pearson Cootie and Jake Knapp with that. I also put in the Discord. I had a Sahit Tagala in that too, a little round robin, top 10, top 20 action there. Also put in the Discord Akshay Bhatia on round 2. I liked him. Took him for top 5 and top 10. He cashed those. So another little shout to, if you are a Dimers Pro, log into the Discord, make sure you're in there. I regularly try to post at least 1 or 2 golf plays over the course of the tournament using the model that I like. This week, it worked out pretty well. Last week, got a few, got cooked on day 4, though. And then our tennis parlay, most recent one, cashed overnight. So some good stuff there as that model continues to deliver, even outside the Grand Slams. We've got another one up there today, though it starts around 4:30 p.m. Good chance by the time you're listening to this, it will already be underway. So another good plug there to be active on dimers.com and be looking out for that content daily so you don't miss anything. Also, bets that you can get from the model yourself if you have Dimers Pro. So, don't sleep on those tennis articles. Their boss is killing it with those.
Tennis has been on fire in the last month, and there's always tennis to bet. Just like golf, every single week you got new tournaments to take a look at. So, the model keeps rolling, both men's and women's tennis bets. Make sure you check it out. You gave the plug for Dimers Pro. Get that promo code podcast. Get 50% off your first purchase. Okay, let's turn to the Super Bowl. We've each got some takeaways, things we learned, things we felt as we watched this game play out. You can start for us. What do you got?
Yeah, this one isn't going to come as a shock or anything. It's probably also going to be met with a no duh if I were trying to hot take this. But the Patriots were outclassed. They were simply always a tier below, I think. And it came up a lot of times over the course of the season. A lot of talk about the Patriots' schedule being one of the easiest ever overall. I believe the easiest for a team that made it to the Super Bowl. I felt that was all valid, and it seems like it was pretty true. I was on record on this program several times saying I was unimpressed with Drake May this season relative to the top tier of the league. Not saying he wasn't good or that I didn't think the Patriots were any good. We highlighted a lot of the ways that a lot of their strengths, a lot of the ways they stood out over the season, particularly their run defense. But he had a really tough playoff run, 21 sacks, 7 fumbles, lost 4 of them, I believe, maybe 3, and then 3 scoreless quarters in the Super Bowl. Even Vrabel seemed kind of unprepared for this game. A few questionable decisions on 4th and short, not going for 2, even though it was late, getting out of hand. But, they were willing to run plays with 40 seconds left instead of just kind of running it out. And when they could have had a chance to sort of get back in it, it didn't seem like they did quite as much as they could have. Seahawks didn't exactly light up the scoreboard either, but it's probably the least competitive no touchdown blowout for 3 quarters that I've ever seen. Really puts into perspective how much better Seattle was when you look at the gems between them and the Rams, and then you look at the effort that the Patriots mustered in that same matchup. Hats off to the defense. It did everything you could possibly ask of one on the biggest stage, but man, does the AFC look a little bad in retrospect.
Yeah, that's a great segue into my primary takeaway. I agree with everything in the internal view of just the game itself. Obviously, a boring result, but the Seahawks were very good, dominant defense. I'll be able to stomach looking back on it. That's a Super Bowl worthy defense. I think there was a world we kind of discovered that Seattle was a juggernaut here. Certainly didn't feel that way watching their offense. It's like this game was there for the taking if the Pats had any signs of life, which leads me to my primary conclusion. The AFC should be ashamed. I'm sorry. I understand the Broncos were the best team. But even as I'm sitting here thinking like, damn, that Bo Nix injury, gosh, what could have saved the Super Bowl? Bo Nix. Like,
Yeah.
this was the state of this conference this year. It was a disgrace. All the teams who should have positioned themselves in a way that this was their year just all fell apart simultaneously. If the Chiefs are going to fall apart and open the door for everybody, I'm looking at the Ravens. I'm looking at the Bills. I'm looking at the Bengals. This is Josh Allen's prime. It is Lamar Jackson's prime. It is Joe Burrow's prime. And those three teams combined for one playoff win in an AFC that sent Drake May to the Super Bowl and gave Bo Nix a bye before he blew out his leg. It's just a travesty for real fans of this game. And look, I feel like I am not trying to diss on the small market teams. I think we've seen a lot of great Cinderella stories through the years. This Patriots team was not that. This was not a Cinderella story. This was a team that played nobody, showed their true colors anytime they did, and that included on the biggest stage. It was a frustrating result, to say the least.
Could not have put it any better, Greg. That was kind of beautiful to watch right there. The intensity. But yeah, I could not agree more. I mean, the Broncos would have been certainly a better matchup. We also would have still gotten the redemption story just from the other side, and it would have been a better one because they would have been the dog, would have been a closer dog, probably the 1.5 spread type stuff we were talking about before the game. Rather than the Seahawks, who was like, oh, the redemption story, and people think they're going to blow the team out. It kind of takes the narrative away from that. And yeah, I think even one first place MVP vote receiver, Justin Herbert, should have been able to take advantage of a year in which the Chiefs were not there, and just nobody could do it. Yep, I couldn't agree more with you. I actually had to kind of readjust my takeaways a bit for this. Not the first time in our notes that I had to pivot as well. I'll go back to the game as a whole here. MVP up for grabs, I think, in that game, but I do not to take away from Ken Walker. It was well deserved, but perhaps more entertaining than the game itself was watching the live MVP odds move. It was truly fantastic. They were all over the place, swinging wildly, even up through the last 20 minutes of the game or so. Walker was pretty firmly the favorite, but everything behind that was getting absolutely, it was like the Wild West, except for a few minutes. Darnold was right there after he tossed the Barner touchdown, but it felt like it could have been a co-defensive win, just Seattle defense winning the MVP, because realistically, I mean, that's what enabled them to just run the ball into the ground, give Kenneth Walker 27 carries, was the defense simply holding the Patriots inside the 50-yard line for the entirety of the game. But there wasn't even that big game-breaking play until the end of the fumble recovery for a touchdown, and it was already over at that point. So it was like probably the least a fumble six has ever swung a win probability in a game. But I'll tell you, there was a good period where I truly believe Jason Myers could have won the MVP as a kicker. I grabbed him when he was plus 1,700. It was still 12-0. And I was like, if this is 15-0, or the game ends like 15-7, 15-10, the only thing that truly held off the Patriots was Jason Myers' leg. Maybe he kicks a 58-yarder, a 60-yarder. But I mean, he set a Super Bowl record for field goals, 17 total points from him. I was like, dude, he might get this. He was down to plus 400, only behind Kenneth Walker at one point. It was the game within the game was watching the MVP odds. It was truly thrilling. Hats off to Ken Walker, though. A very good game for him to cap off a very important season for his future.
Yeah, as a Michigan State alum that got to watch Kenneth Walker for 1 year at that program, he is one of the most talented backs I have ever laid eyes on. And for various reasons, we talked about, Seattle never really wanted to employ him as a featured back. They were forced to in this playoff run, and he delivered on the biggest stage. It was good for him to see. But I also enjoyed the Jason Myers saga. I saw some takeaways from talking heads of like, score one for the conservative coaches. And I don't even think like the decisions to kick those field goals were all that controversial. They were all like 4th and long or end of the first half. Like, what are you going to go for a 4th and 9 instead of take the points when your defense is lights out? But good for him for executing. It did certainly feel at the end of the third quarter, it might have been his award. But in the end, Kenneth had a couple big plays late to secure it. I wish he would have been able to punch in that final touchdown, honestly.
I know he had it too, which is too bad for him, but
yeah. Oh, well. And then I guess on a positive note from the game, the one guy that I do find myself emotionally feeling the warm and fuzzies for, good for Sam Darnold. And this is a lesson, I think, that everything is situational. And quarterback is one of those positions in sports where you're going to get all the credit or you're going to get all the blame. Sam Darnold probably did not deserve all the blame for the first 7 years of his career at 4 different stops. And he probably doesn't deserve all the credit for this Super Bowl winning award, which makes it ironic that my main takeaway from the game is giving him credit. But I just feel good for the guy. I mean, you look at his time at the Jets, he goes 13-25 as a starter. And, he's kind of written off as a bust at that point. Bounces around to Carolina, to the Niners. So much was made of his resurgence last year in Minnesota. And, I think he had a huge role in that Vikings team winning as much as they did 1 year ago. No one really felt that way at the time. The story was kind of, well, geez, how are we doing this with Sam Darnold at quarterback? What if we really do get a quarterback? And for him to immediately bounce to another great franchise that clearly had talented players but did not have the answer at quarterback and elevate this team right away while you simultaneously watch what went wrong in Minnesota with the J.J. McCarthy experiment. It's hard not to feel good for the guy that was counted out everywhere he's gone to, including just one season ago when he had the Vikings on top of the NFC North. I just feel happy for him. I do think it's a cool story in terms of perseverance and not listening to the critics and just keeping your head down and trusting the work that one day you'll get over the hump. I also had a text from a friend who texted me at 6 a.m. the morning after the Super Bowl. He's never woken up before 8 a.m. as far as I know. And he sent me a picture from the gym and said, if Sam Darnold can win a Super Bowl, I can change my life too. So you're inspiring us all, Sam Darnold. Good for you.
That's incredible. He's going to spawn an entire new generation of motivational posters, motivational quotes and whatnot. That was it though, right? That was the summary of his what does it mean to you? All that his Super Bowl speech was believe in yourself, and that's it. I put a note here. Like he had a winning record. It was 7-6, but a winning record with Adam Gase as his coach. Like he thrived despite absolutely terrible situation at some point. So hard not to say maybe we should have seen it all along. He really stepped up when it was needed most. And I cannot believe that I did not see a single meme, post, whatever, of him in Ghostbusters attire that said "Ghosts Busted" within seconds of the Super Bowl being over. I was pretty surprised. I plugged it into ChatGPT to see if it would spin out anything for me, and it was terrible. Wasted tons of gallons of water to get a terrible Sam Darnold photo, and nobody else had the idea, so maybe I should have just rolled with it. But
yeah, how dare the AI is letting us down. The funniest tweet that I saw,
nothing on the bot,
played out, the one that made me laugh the most was somebody tweeted, "Man, Drake May looks awful. The Patriots should probably scrap him and sign JJ McCarthy." It's a good lesson. Don't overreact to whatever you think your nightmare quarterback situation is. I'm sure the Pats will have a chance to bounce back.
Looked like a JJ McCarthy game from Drake.
It would have made more sense if that's what was happening from New England. All right, let's twist this a little bit from looking backward to looking forward. So I want to keep it within the construct of Seahawks, Patriots, nothing broader within the league really here. But give me one early 2026 prediction partaking to one of these two teams.
I should have told you what mine was when I sent you the topics for the show, because your prediction was also mine. But I came up with another. I went in a different direction, and I will let you reveal yours, and I'll just save any. If you don't say my pieces on it, I'll mention them. But I'm going to say Ken Walker will be, if not. Don't look. I revealed Greg. I'll just say it. Ken Walker will be the most overdrafted running back in fantasy next year. You had a pretty all-time playoff run here relative to his usual production. Dominated in the workhorse role with Zach Charbonnet out. 4 touchdowns, 417 total yards in his playoff run. Char won't be back until October at the earliest, most likely anyway. I'm not a doctor, but he got an ACL tear in late December. Walker will probably be drafted around that 1-2 turn. Wouldn't be surprised if in 12-team, 14-team leagues he cracks the first round, unless something crazy happens between now and camp, or now in the draft, rather. I just think it's unlikely he returns that type of production. We saw his season high carries was in the Super Bowl, 27 touches. He never even hit 20, which was his previous high in most of his games in previous seasons. He's going to get a deal, absolutely, after that run as a free agent, but he's never been a true RB1 workhorse. Still only hit, I think, 20 carries one time. It was, I think, all season with Charbonnet. I did say none. I think it was one time. If he returns to Seattle, they'll probably mix in somebody else from camp to lighten his load. And if he signs elsewhere, I'm even more hesitant to invest in that in fantasy. Running backs in new situations, you never quite know what you're going to get. Not all of them are going to turn out Saquon Barkley. And I think a team is likely to give him a workload he's not used to sort of justify the ROI on his contract. And I don't think we'll see what we got in the last 5-6 weeks over the course of a season. And that's what's going to be fresh in people's minds when it comes to fantasy draft time, is how the season ended. And yes, so I think Ken Walker will be the most overdrafted running back in fantasy next year.
I see that. I think there's an obvious path for that. They kept bringing up the graphic of Super Bowl winning running backs and, the various performances in the game, production, but also it's a bunch of names that basically disappeared within 2 or 3 years after their Super Bowl win. So much has been made of the devaluation of the running back position in general. And that makes his performance in this game even more impressive to me. To be the best player, to be a Super Bowl MVP and be a running back obviously speaks to what he was and what he's capable of. At the same time, I think you're right. If he goes to a different situation, I could easily see him ending up overpaid in a big market. Honestly, throw him on the Dallas Cowboys and he has a great first half of next season and then disappears. It feels so fitting that that's where this is headed. It'll be interesting to see what Seattle does, though. They love their dual running backs systems, and Charbonnet is good. He's not Kenneth Walker. I don't know if you want to see what Zach Charbonnet workhorse running back looks like next year, but maybe we'll see that. Who knows?
Yeah.
No,
stay away. It's just a stay away situation for me at this point. Very far out from drafting fantasy.
Yeah, right. Okay. I will reveal our collective take here. I think the Pats miss the playoffs next year. And I don't think this is an overreaction. They're going to get the first place schedule. It's going to completely flip the entire way that this team went about this season. This is not meant as disrespect to anyone in the room, and certainly not Drake May, who I do think is a good quarterback. I just think this team was the recipient of so much schedule luck and situational spots this year where they were playing teams either with injuries or teams that were already tanking, and they capitalized. They did not impress me really ever. And I get that that's easy to say at this point following a Super Bowl run and that type of stinker. But I think we see this frequently. I really do. I think my Detroit Lions got bit with this year, where we kind of flipped from playing the 4th place, 3rd place schedules into, we are the team to beat now. And we lost our offensive coordinator and some pieces are changing, but we're still the Lions. It's no, every single game we played some great playoff level teams and the schedule never let up. And by week 15, it just overcame us because we were a flawed team this year. And now it's back to the drawing board to regroup. I sort of just see this coming with the Pats. And I think it's very easy to think when you're a young team with a quarterback like May that this is just, the first of many shots that are coming. New England is obviously a winning franchise. I don't doubt he'll get back there at some point. I don't think it's going to be next year when the schedule flips. Do you have anything to add to this?
Yeah, pretty much. I completely agree. I think they punched above their weight all season. Obviously the schedule luck, the beneficiary of very good scheduling. And, looking at the board, I can see 8 or 9 teams in the AFC who could compete for a playoff spot next year. You'd have 3 in the West, 2 in the North easily, 2 in the AFC East, including the Bills and the Patriots. I mean, who knows if you get a quick little Dolphins turnaround They could be close enough even just to make things interesting in the wild card. And we saw in the NFC this year, you can miss the playoffs with a winning record and basically tied for first in your own division. So I just think that it comes back down to earth for them for sure. And we see the regression to what they probably should have looked like this year.
And back to my first takeaway from the game with the AFC, if you are one of those teams with a stud quarterback sitting at home, I think your front office has to be thinking, we need to go for this. This conference is wide open. If you see franchises that have made coaching changes like Buffalo and Baltimore, maybe round out, get their quarterbacks a little help, I think this is going to be a totally different landscape sooner rather than later. So, all right, I'm glad we were in alignment there. In the last couple of weeks, we have repeatedly gone back to our NFL playoff bracket challenge. And you and I also had our own little side contest here. You've got the results from both of these. So let's start with the bracket challenge. Who took home the prize?
Yep. Congratulations, John Nelson. I believe I would find it quite the coincidence that I was also exchanging customer service emails with a man named John Nelson over the weekend. So it's probably also you. So congratulations to you, who I was talking with over a completely unrelated Dimers issue over the weekend, but outlasted everybody here. Alongside the Dimers bot here that tied for first in the playoff bracket challenge, will win 3 months of Dimers Pro for his picks. Very well done. Obviously had the Seahawks as the champion. I'll pull up their bracket here. You can check it out. Only missed 4 games over the whole playoffs. Pretty much nailed the run for the Broncos up to the Patriots. Had the Patriots getting to the Super Bowl. They had Denver here. Sorry, it's hard to read this bracket. It puts your results, but either way, came out on top. This is the Dimers Bots bracket alongside that right here. Weighted pretty heavily by crushing the divisional round, both of us, and having Seahawks as the champion, thus getting all the way through. Really great stuff. Love doing these contests with everyone. We'll have to come up with some fun ones to do throughout baseball season, maybe for the NBA and NHL playoffs as well. Could be some fun contests in there. So well done again. Congrats, John. I'll be in touch with you and hook you up with your Dimers Pro soon. Probably right after this show, to be honest.
Congrats, John. Well done. And then we had our personal battle here, Dave, and I see your notes here. You're asking if I know who won. Dave, of course I know who won, baby.
Yeah. You kidding? It's like, you kidding? Yeah. Good job, Greg. Good job. Very well done. Very well done. I'll be honest, I wasn't tracking the points, but I figured since I had the only 2 offensive touchdowns from our entire drafted teams, that I was at least a little bit closer than this. You got me by almost 10 full points here. Powered by the Drake May garbage time, eliteness, and Kenneth Walker MVP run. Great call with Cooper Kupp. He would have been the difference maker for me, I think, but my JSN Sam Darnold stack doesn't come through. You do great. I owe you a $5 futures bet of your choice. And I also owe someone a month of Dimers Pro because I offered a poll for this in the Discord who they thought would win. And, either way, I was giving it away, but they gave you the advantage, Greg, 15 votes to 13. They believed in you. And now I owe one of them a month of Pro. So it stings twice as much.
Thank you, Dimers Discord. That means a lot to feel your support. I'd like to thank the Academy. This is the greatest win of my life. I would like to
play that music. Play them off.
Let me bring my futures bet reveal to the next episode. Does that work?
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I want to sleep on this. I'm going to go. Me and the model are going to do some work tonight. And it might end up being like a futures parlay. A couple different teams to win championships based on what the model likes.
It's your choice, and I will inevitably ride it alongside you either way. So it could be a win for both of us. In the end, at the end of it all, this could end up just being a victory for both of us involved. So,
hey, let's
yes.
hope so. And maybe we'll give out some winnings if we can cash that ticket as well. All right. Thank you for putting that together. That was fun. I got one win of the entire Super Bowl weekend, and it was that. So that means the world to me. Let's turn next to our DraftKings King of the Court promotion. We do this every week. It is one of our favorites. The rundown, if you do not remember, bet $5 on any player prop market that you like. Points, threes, assists, rebounds, whatever. If you use your King of the Court token on the bet and your player ends up leading all players that night in points plus rebounds plus assists, you and everyone else who picked that player for your token will split a $1 million bonus bet pool. Every week, Dave gives us sort of his surveil of the landscape here, and he's going to give you multiple names. Reminder, this is not just a recommendation on who to use your King of the Court token on, but you can use these insights in general to maybe just find some player prop value and win a full card of player prop bets for tonight. So over to you, Dave. Where do you want to start?
I will start with a quick caveat that I am leaving Luka Doncic off this. He's missed back-to-back games since leaving early. He's listed as questionable tonight. He is atop our projections because he's in, he's questionable. He's not ruled out, so he's in there until that changes in our lineup feed. But I've left him off here because, first of all, he's Luka Doncic. He's the top projected guy. You know what he can do, so there's no point talking about him. And if he's hurt, I don't want to waste time talking about a guy who's hurt anyway. So we'll just move on to the next 3 and 2 long shots here. Starting with Kawhi Leonard in Clippers Rockets, projected for 40.3 PRA. He's coming off 2 dominant outings, 51 PRA and 47. Obviously, no James Harden alongside him anymore, so he's got a little bit more upside, I think. Just scored 41 points Sunday versus the Timberwolves, latest of 4 40-point outings this season, including a 41-8-5 game versus Houston, tonight's opponent. Rockets are bottom 10 lately versus forwards in points, assists, and rebounds, 25th versus boards specifically. That's probably the prop I would target for him. He's led the Clippers actually in boards in back-to-back games since the deadline with Zubac gone, their top rebounder. Obviously, Kawhi's not playing center, so someone's out there getting boards, but there's a void to fill, and a couple of those could fall his way. We'll go to Wemby next. Spurs versus Lakers, projected for 38 PRA. He's got 32 and 30 total PRA in 2 games versus Los Angeles so far this season. No big matchup versus them yet. He's a bit inconsistent game to game in terms of scoring, but his ceiling is absolutely huge. We know this. 40, 39, and 38-point scoring nights in particular outings this season. Elite rebounding, top 5 in the NBA. He's our second highest projected total for boards tonight. I think that was 10.3 or 10.5 last I checked. Lakers are struggling pretty badly versus forwards. 30th in points, 30th in assists, 29th in rebounds over their last 15 games. And middle of the pack versus centers. So that hybrid forward center scoring alien matchup that Wemby is fits this pretty well here, given the Lakers' recent form. If everything comes together, he's got absolute slate breaking upside. Definitely would be looking at him for a 30-piece or climbing a rebounds ladder for either just a side play or your entry play. All right, third, Jalen Brunson, Knicks versus Pacers. He's projected for 37.7 PRA. Pretty solid matchup versus Indiana. He's coming off 42, 8, and 9 in double OT versus Denver. The night after we talked about him in King of the Court last week, would have won it off a performance like that. Just happened to be a day late. Pacers are bottom 10 versus guards in all 3 categories last 15 games. Jalen Brunson contributes across all 3. Obviously more upside in points and assists. Somewhat erratic 3-point shooter. If you can get that dialed in, he could rapidly rack up some points from beyond the arc. His projection is 2.7 tonight. 3-pointers made. Pretty modest, but it's actually our second highest projected of the evening. Not particularly good or bad matchup either direction as far as threes are concerned. I'd probably look at Brunson for 35 plus or maybe 8 plus assists as an entry play at plus money. Moving to the long shots, Alperen Şengün, Clippers versus Rockets, projected for 34.5 PRA. Triple-double in his last outing, which I happened to cash, put him in a triple-double watch post. And the other two did not come through, but Şengün came up, which was pretty nice. That was his last game. He's well rested. That was on Saturday. Not an elite scorer, but he can dominate in the right game. 39, 33 points in his last 2 weeks. Consistent double-digit rebounds. Pretty elite assist upside for a center. He's basically like Nikola Jokic light in terms of how well-rounded he is for a big man. He averages the second most assists in the league for a center, 17th overall, 11th most boards in the NBA. He's grabbed 11 and 15 rebounds versus the Clippers in 2 previous meetings this season. Projects 4th in boards, 5th in assists tonight in our projections hub. Clippers are struggling versus centers lately, 28th in points and rebounds, 29th in assists allowed over the last 15. Pretty classic, well-rounded stat-stuffing game is in the cards for Şengün tonight. He's my personal favorite play. I will definitely be getting on him for this promo. Once again, I tend to lean to him many times. I think he got it for me once last year, and he didn't get it a few weeks ago, but he cashed his max assist ladder in that game with like 13-1. So I would look at his plus money boards, plus money assists for prop targets. He's got a good chance of cashing at least some of them tonight. And then Devin Booker here, Suns versus Mavs, projected for 33.2. Booker used to be one of the kind of talked about like a premier superstar in the league. He's fallen a bit out of at least that echelon as far as conversations go. He's still the best player on the Suns here. He's top 20 in the league in scoring and assists. Nearly posted a triple-double versus Miami recently. He's still got it, if it doesn't all come together kind of all in one night for him, as it seemingly used to. Mavs defense has allowed 135 plus points in back-to-back games. Pretty leaky defense in general, 7-game losing streak. Obviously, the attention will be on the other side with Cooper Flagg, just tied for king of the court last week. They have almost the same projection here in this game. So, if you don't like Booker, Flagg is certainly an option. But Mavs have given up pretty heavy production to point guards lately, almost 30 points per game over the last 15. Booker projects for the highest assist total in this game. So there's something there for him. He's probably my least favorite, I think, of the guys that I was looking at as far as long shot targets, but seems like he's in a good spot tonight. And I like to showcase at least guys in different tiers. And he felt like he was just one little tier below, maybe the others. So felt like I wanted to include him here. So I think he's got at least a good chance to be in contention tonight, if not put up, a monster 55, 60 PRA evening. I wouldn't be surprised to see him in that top 5 come the end of the night.
Good shouts all around. I am with you on Şengün as far as the king of the court play. Just with his assist and rebound upside against a Clippers team that's been getting torched by 5s in recent weeks. I think that's the obvious shot at that there, and it's not exactly a Wemby or a Kawhi name at the top of the board.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I love Kawhi in the post Harden landscape. He's clearly just taken on more usage. So I think he's a worthy favorite, and I think he deserves quite a bit of attention as well. Şengün in general is my play with you. We agree there. Thank you, Dave. Let's go to college hoops next, from NBA to a college corner for Tuesday night.
College Corner.
Back at it with 3 of them again. It is another loaded Tuesday night slate. It's that beautiful time of year for us college hoops fans. We start with one of the model's favorite plays tonight. It is Baylor plus 3.5 against BYU. Now, I've been screaming from the mountaintops to anyone who will listen for 3 weeks that BYU is trending in the wrong direction, and I don't think they've hit their floor just yet. They've lost 4 straight games, 5 of 6. They are still searching for their elusive first top 25 win of the entire season. It's February 10th. Like, they've had chances, and anytime they play a game that they're, supposed to win, or maybe not just blow out a team, they run into trouble. They're 3.5-point road favorites here. Home dogs are not dogs, they're wolves, and this is going to be an extra ferocious home court environment because Baylor is where BYU point guard Rob Wright came from. And if you don't know the backstory here, Rob Wright was a freshman at Baylor last season. He was a stud freshman point guard on a good team. He signed a contract to return to Baylor, and then was poached by Kevin Young and the BYU staff. He left them after agreeing to return and put Baylor in a really tough spot. That's why Baylor has struggled this year. They don't have that answer at point guard, but they are a good enough team to get up for a game like this. I think this is going to be one of the most hostile environments. They've got size at the guard spots that can frustrate Rob, and they are certainly going to try and swarm him and send a message here with some comments from Coach Scott Drew leading up to this. I think Baylor wins this game outright. We do show an edge on the money line as well. I almost went with the money line, but ended up choosing the safe route that the Dimers model has as the highest probability outcome here. Baylor plus 3.5 over BYU. Next up, we're going to my Big Ten country here where Illinois is in a bounce back spot, and I got the Illinois Bomber jacket on tonight. Nice. I love this team. They are the highest rated offense in the history of the KenPom database going back 25 years in college basketball. And if you watch them, it's very real. They just mismatch hunt. They've got 5 pro-level basketball players on the court at all times with great positional size, skill, passing, shooting everywhere. Unless you've got a real plan and real athletes defensively, you just can't cover all 5 areas of the court against Illinois. They will find the mismatch and pick it to death. The good news for them is Wisconsin does not provide much resistance defensively at all. This team is 40th in the country overall, 59th best defense in the sport, and trending in the wrong direction. They're small. They've got athletes, but they don't have the size to keep up, and they certainly don't have the interior defense. This is an Illinois team that went toe-to-toe with Michigan State at the Breslin Center over the weekend. Ultimately, a 2 for 16 shooting night from their star freshman Keaton Wagler is why they couldn't win that game outright. I was really impressed with what they did. If he bounces back at all against a really friendly matchup for him at home here, I think Illinois should run away with this one. 10.5 feels like a big number. Wisconsin spots teams 10 points in the first 10 minutes of games all the time. Illinois can run away with this one if they play well. And then last but not least, we've got an ACC matchup here. We're going to take North Carolina on the money line against Miami. Now, this is your traditional letdown spot. That's the fear. But I think the price of the spot is baked in here, and it's almost offering up North Carolina when they should be maybe 3-point favorites, almost at a pick'em valuation here against a team they're just flat out better than. Carolina just had the emotional comeback win over Duke. As long as their heads are on straight and they've shaken off the hangover, if you will, they're just better than Miami. And Miami has struggled against the good teams that they've played this year. You think back to losses to Florida, aforementioned BYU, and Clemson. They haven't beaten a top 60 team this season. That's even more drastic than BYU. It's just a caliber difference. They kind of beat up on cupcakes and they can't hang against good teams. Carolina has a great front court that will really be a tough matchup for Malik Renew, Miami's lead scorer. I think as long as they can avoid foul trouble to Vesar and Wilson in the front court, this should be a game for Carolina to maybe stamp the Duke win and announce to everybody that wasn't a fluke. This is a team that's here to compete in the ACC. Added to the card, that's our third and final play. It's Baylor plus 3.5, Illinois minus 10.5, and North Carolina to win on the money line.
Great card, Greg. Really love your insights on it. All sounds like really good stuff. Matchups that hopefully you and the model have dialed in on here. One question, though. How can you so confidently reference the KenPom rankings after Doug Gottlieb said they're absolutely terrible? You don't think the 240th ranked team in the world, in the nation, has a better idea of what those rankings mean than you?
Listen, Dave, something tells me Doug Gottlieb isn't a Dimers Pro subscriber either, and I think that might explain a lot about how his career's going.
Yeah, you might get some insights on how to use his team if he used Dimers Pro, if we even bothered to have projections for his sorry franchise.
You know what? Send this to the powers that be. For Mark, can we run a Dimers Pro special offer for an extra 5% off with promo code Gottlieb? We can I think that'd be a great idea, Dave.
For him only.
Just for him. He's the only one. Oh, good Lord. All right. If you like this edition of College Corner, reminder, we do this all the time. And now that we are past the NFL season, we're really going to see things ramp up here for college basketball with multiple episodes of this show every single week. You can expect multiple renditions of College Corner. And if you enjoy this, throw us a like. Please subscribe to the pod so that you can get these notifications when episodes drop. Anytime we do a College Corner or really any sport we're doing outside of NFL now, a lot of our insights apply to games that happen later tonight by the time this episode comes out. So those notifications have become even more important than they were when you listen to the show in NFL season. Let's turn next to golf, where we've got the Pebble Beach Pro-Am next on tour. First, though, a recap of this past weekend, and Scotty Scheffler didn't win, Dave.
He did not, and he almost did, though, despite starting with a 73. I just couldn't believe it, man. I'll save a little bit of it for talking about him in a few minutes, but it's just unbelievable. He finished one outside of a two-man playoff after starting almost as bad as we'll ever see him. It was crazy, but fun tournament overall. Always is. Chris Goddard wins for the second time this year already, doubled his career win total in 1 month of 2026. Really impressive stuff. He'll be a must-watch for the rest of the year. Basically, any event he's in, I think you have to at least consider, maybe look at his matchup, see if there's a red flag, but he should be somebody you're looking at. Last week didn't really yield any major wins from the Dimers model. Top contenders all came up short. However, all three of the golfers I had to watch did well. Each of them secured a top 20. Knapp and Cootie both secured a top 10 in the top 5 mix throughout most of the weekend as well. For a while, I was kicking myself for playing Jake Knapp winner without Scotty Scheffler because I basically chopped the odds in half. And then I was like, oh my goodness, good thing I did that. And then it didn't matter because he lost anyway and Scheffler didn't win. But Scheffler ends up finishing above the guy who's sitting in top 5. So something to see. Unfortunately, we couldn't really get any live value. First 2 rounds were both suspended for like 3 guys to finish on 16 or 17. It was pretty annoying, but rounds were basically starting by the time they resumed play. So our model could not update for rounds 2 and 3. Hopefully not the case this week as we go to a shorter field and 1 full hour west. So that should help us there. This is a pretty fun tournament, one that our model absolutely nailed a couple years ago. The 2024 edition with Wyndham Clark, 80-1. Got to be one of the most fun bets of my life. Took him live. I just tailed pretty much all the Dimers edges at this point. I'm still kind of new using the Dimers golf tool. Bad weather delays the final round. Clark sits in the lead for like 2 full days. And then they finally axe the final round, call it after 54 holes. He secures the win, plus 8,000. Good Dimers win. Really fun time. Really, really good time to be betting on golf at that stretch of the Dimers model. But yeah, so now it's the 2026 edition. So let's see what we got. I will just preface this with saying that if you don't bet on golf, if you're not going to bet on this tournament, you should watch it anyway. It's a beautiful course. The field is really stacked. It's going to be a great watch. It's another dual course setup here. First 2 rounds will be split between Pebble Beach Links and the Spyglass Hill course. Final 2 rounds are both at Pebble Beach. So we'll play 3 rounds there, just 1 at Spyglass. It's an 80-man field, no cut event. So just absolute elite talent in this field. Kind of it's got no cut, so it's not like a major, but the talent will certainly feel like that. These are 2 shortest par 72s on the PGA Tour schedule. Pebble Beach clocks in just under 7,000 yards. Spyglass is just over 7,071. They've also got some of the smallest greens on tour. Pebble Beach, the smallest there are. So it kind of offsets that a bit. It's not exactly an easy course just because it's short, and accuracy over distance will prevail pretty much all the way through here. Weather can be a big factor. Talked about that earlier. It literally canceled an entire round of this tournament 2 years ago. Looking like we could get some rain and wind on Sunday. I don't think it's going to be quite nearly canceling the final round levels. It doesn't look anything like that, but it's going to get dicey potentially in the final round. So no lead is safe. Will be good to monitor your plays and look if there's anything you can do to kind of offset any potential guys coming apart at the end in sludgy conditions. And another good thing to note, just doing your research, course history is pretty relevant here. Every winner in the past 25 years previously made the cut, and I think all but one had a top 10 finish here previously. I believe only Wyndham Clark is the one who doesn't fit that. He was T18, his previous best. So you can kind of use that to narrow down some contenders. Look for guys who have been cut or who have made the cut and finished top 10, maybe even top 15 or so to find some sneaky value. Got some 2026 debuts. Rory McIlroy, Tommy Fleetwood, Shane Lowry, plenty of top talent from the UK coming here. First signature event of 2026, so there's a fat $20 million purse on the line. Field is appropriately stacked with guys looking to chase that bag. And other than that, good tournament, lots of opportunity. So let's just see what the model likes here with a quick look, pull up our predictions, and look at the outright value plays. Let me zoom in here a little bit. So for outright value, we've got three guys that jump right off the page, two of them right at the top, led by Scotty Scheffler, of course, plus 300, but 27.5% to win is fair at plus 260. So you're getting yourself a little edge there. Like I said, absolute display from him last week. Started out as bad as we maybe will ever see him, at least anytime soon. Then just stormed back like it never happened. Finished one stroke outside the two-man playoff. Really proves that he's never out of it. Maybe if the number of strokes he's back matches the leader's score, perhaps. But other than that, if you think the guy could start a tournament a day late and catch up to you, it feels like. 2 top 10s his past 2 years here in his only 2 appearances. Maybe the only thing working against him this week is how stacked this field is. Super talented, so thus he's facing basically major level competition. But he also won 2 of those last year and finished T7 or better in all 4 of them. So it doesn't really matter how good everyone he's facing is. It's just he's always a threat. He does have a little edge here. You could play him. I'll transparency. I played him last week, but paired him with, I don't even remember who because he didn't win. But I think Ben Griffin to get a top 20, maybe somebody else to try and get slightly better. Maybe I even put Ben Griffin top 40, just to get something a little bit more out of it. Not really something you should be doing as it invites risk, but I have a hard time stomaching a plus 300 winner in a field of 80 or more people. You can get him at only minus 137 for top 5. So it's not, the worst thing, but it's just really hard to find plus money value on him in pretty much any facet. Not even plus money, but anything you would call appealing odds. So let's look at a couple other guys. Tommy Fleetwood, he's plus 3,000, 7.9% to win. That's fair at just under plus 1,200, so a really big edge here. Last time Tommy played in the U.S., we picked him to win the Tour Championship, and he delivered at 14-1. It was his first career win on the Tour. It only took him a 30-man field to do it, but he cashed all the same. 8 top 10s in 19 events last year. Just really good upside. He peaked here with a T22 last year, but he's improved every year that he's played, so perhaps he continues that trend. He ranked 2nd in strokes gained overall last year, 6th on approach, 35th in driving accuracy, a very good fit at this course. He's got an edge throughout here, top 20, top 10, top 5, and outright. His top 20, is huge. 65.9% at plus money is massive. And like I said, he's improved every year, so that perfectly lines up with that. He's the top ladder play by the model, one I will certainly be playing. And then third guy I want to look at here as outright value, Russell Henley, also sitting here in our top 5. Actually, no, I have one more person I want to look at. I didn't put him in this banner, though. 3.9%. He'd be fair at plus 2,500, so a good solid edge here. Opened with a T19 and a T9 this season. Ranked 4th in total strokes gained last year. Top 15 in tee to green, around the green, approach. He's definitely more accurate than powerful. Not a lot of power in his drives. Doesn't drive the ball very far. But these courses are not long, and accuracy is key here. Good putter to top it all off. Personal best in 6 tries, T5 here last year. Otherwise, a bit of mixed results. 2 missed cuts, 2 finishes in the 50s, and a T15. So pretty perfectly balanced all around as far as top 20, outside the 20, and a missed cut. But he's got a clear edge here. Based on these odds, he's gets a Dimer's Flame, over 50%, and at plus money for a top 20. Also a Flame for top 10. So he's another ladder play for me. And then the last guy I want to look at here, I didn't put him in the banner, but JJ Spawn, just a little further down to get into the longer shot territory. 2.2% at plus 6,000. That's fair at plus 4,450. He's a familiar name from a few earlier tournaments this year. Kind of a rough start for him, though, after winning the U.S. Open last year. Hoping for bigger things, but he's got off to a miscut and a T40 to start. Played here 7 times, missed his first 4 cuts, peaked with a T16 in 2022. I know it doesn't sound like somebody you want to get behind, but his form from last year is like an absolute ideal fit here. It's perfect. It lines up really well. He just hasn't found that through 2 events in 2026. He's got value in top 20 here and in top 10. So there's something here from the model. And it's probably worth getting a little sprinkle on in case he finds his form this week. Certainly worth it based on the price. And then, like I did last week, just a couple golfers to watch. No value on these guys, but they're notable names for one reason or another. Siwoo Kim, off to an insane start this year. Top 15 in his last 2 outings at this course. Accurate off the tee and around the green. Just a really short price. The model doesn't love him as far as value is concerned. His fair odds would be plus 4,300. He's only 25 to 1. So just not a play as far as value is concerned. But remember, the guys last week weren't either, and they all did well. Shane Lowry, surprised to actually see him this low. I thought maybe he was missing for a second when I was looking for him. Model usually likes him a lot. Maybe it's because it's his first event in a while. Second place last year at this event. Hampered by his worst round of 70 on day 2. Otherwise, he cruised. I think he was the only guy to beat Rory over the course of the weekend. Pretty well-rounded fit. Not a great putter, but probably someone to at least keep an eye on. Let's see what we have him for top 20 real quick before we wrap this up. 28% plus 190. So it's not that far off, but, someone to watch anyway. And then, of course, Rory McIlroy, reigning champ. Got him at just 4.3%, so the model's not a fan as far as value, but that is our 3rd highest probability to win. That would be plus 2250, though, so a little bit off here. Not really a lot to say. He's got the monkey off his back with the Masters win last year. First year, he's finally gets to come into the season without that looming over him. Going to be a kind of almost a different year for Rory, honestly. It'd be kind of interesting to see how this goes for him, but you can get a little bit of an edge on him, unless my math is bad. Top 5 plus 450 and 20.9%. I believe that should be about 390 maybe, because 20% would be plus 400. So you can get a little edge on him. Top 5, top 10. Probably not the worst way to play him in his first event of the year in a loaded field, but somewhere he's really good. Other than that, lots of top 20 value in here. Definitely dig into these predictions and sort through. Don't sleep on the head-to-head tool either. I'll probably write up a head-to-head matchup parlay in an article on site. That'll be a pro article for sure. So if you're a Dimers Pro, keep an eye out for that. And hopefully we'll roll with something nice and good in the head-to-head market this week. Otherwise, lots of value in there to dig through. And I will definitely be riding those Henley Fleetwood ladders myself.
Nice. I love when we get the head-to-head matchup parlay articles. Sometimes I'm an old school like written article guy too. So whenever you can source some of these picks into that format, it's really easily digestible, Dave. I can't believe Fleetwood. 30 to 1 for Tommy Fleetwood.
Yeah, I'm not staying away. I can't believe he's not like 22 to 1, even 18 to 1.
Yeah,
25 to 1. I have to jump on that.
He was just.
I didn't check all the books, so I might not have that price, but.
He was far and away the second best golfer on the planet for the entirety of the second half of last year. I mean, if this if you pick some for him at all, I think we're going to look back at that price is crazy. So good to see the model reflecting what my gut told me there, almost 3 times what he would be fair at an 8% chance to win the tournament. Pretty crazy. Okay. Thank you. Looking forward to the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. As always, love that golf season is here. Let's close the show with what else is on Dimers this week.
What's on Dimers this week?
The Olympics are getting in the way of our daily NHL action right now, and we've got the NBA All-Star break coming up as well. So dare I say it's a quiet week in the Dimers-verse?
It's quiet, but it's never bare. The cupboards are never bare on Dimers. Don't sleep on the golf. Tennis has been rolling. Soccer, even, dare I say college basketball. It's the overlooked corners of the site that I think people are hesitant to sometimes dip into, whether it's lack of knowledge, lack of interest, overwhelming amounts of data. But there's something in there for everybody. Dimer's model is always finding value. Like, it will not be a slate that doesn't have an edge for these. So there's always an angle. If you're a Dimers Pro, jump in the Discord, chat it up. There are knowledgeable people of every sport in there. I talk about things that I like, that I see. Jason does, everybody does in there. So it's a really good way to extract some information in a otherwise kind of quiet sports calendar. NBA will be on All-Star break as of after Thursday, I believe. So we're in the dog days of spring. So should I say, I don't believe in the dog days of summer because I love baseball. So there's no such thing to me, but I get it for the wider audience, and there's still plenty of resources on site to use. So don't sleep on it.
Don't sleep. And yeah, there's plenty of home runs to bet in the summer, Dave. It can't be the dog days. I have a 43-year-old Justin Verlander on the hill for my team now. It's pretty exciting stuff.
He's back in Detroit.
Yeah, they signed him an hour.
I missed it. Oh, wow. Nice.
Crazy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Definitely his last year then. That tells you that.
But don't get me started on our pitching staff right now. That's for another day. Thank you, Dave. Thank you to all of our listeners. Get Dimers Pro, 50% off, promo code podcast. Take advantage of all of the great insights on all of these sports we're talking about. We'll be back later this week. Gamble responsibly. We'll see you next time.